It's that time of the year again when the bright, sunny days start to fade and the air gets colder, heavier, and moodier. Just like how nature has seasons, so do we, so do our lives. Some seasons are awesome, full of joy, energy, and excitement. But others, they bring struggle, sadness, and weariness. And in those moments, life can feel overwhelming. You might feel drained, discouraged, and distant from God. What if this season, the cold, the hard one, is actually one of the most important seasons of your life? What if God is shaping you in ways you can't see right now? Oh, oh my goodness. So today, let's take a closer look at Scripture to understand why trials actually matter more than we realize and how God uses them to strengthen us. And so before I dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the BCYC 2025 workbook, the BCYC 2025, um, since a lot of what I will be sharing comes from the lessons there. So, with that, let's open up to James chapter 1, verse 2. And that reads, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations." Now, that sounds impossible, doesn't it? Joy in trials. But James isn't saying that trials are fun. He's trying to show us that trials that they have a purpose. They're not just wasted moments. God actually uses them to shape us. James goes on in verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Trials aren't just some random struggles, they're workouts of our faith. It's like muscles, they don't grow unless they're being tested under weight. Just like how muscles work. Every time you push through a challenge with God's help, your faith becomes stronger, steadier, and harder to shake. And so that's point number one. Trials are meant to strengthen our faith. And also, just when you are going through trials, be happy that you are going through trials because your faith is being strengthened. Point number two, trials develop our character. Paul said something similar in Romans 5, verse 3 and 4. Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Trials shape our character. They teach us patience, endurance, and real life experience with God. These aren't things you can just learn from. They come from walking through the valleys with God and seeing God's hand guiding you. And we see this theme of developed character from trials in many of our brothers and sisters in the Bible. We look at Judah, a very minor one, but also a big one that we don't really talk about, but it's a big one. Judah, Joseph's brother, he starts off really mean, he's bad, and all that kind of stuff. But then he undergoes his own little trial. And we can see this in Genesis. And so after he goes under that trial, his faith is strengthened, his character is developed, and he becomes this leader that looks after his brothers, and his brothers look up to him. So that's just one example of myriads. So, point two, trials develop our character. And point number three, trials lead us toward salvation. And finally, Job 36, verse 15. He delivers the afflicted by their affliction and opens their ear by adversity. Sometimes it's in our hardest moments that's our ears and hearts open to God. Trials can turn us back toward Him, reminding us that life isn't all about comfort, but preparing for His kingdom. In the end, the struggles we go through are actually pointing us towards salvation. We see this theme in the parable of the prodigal son. In his hardest moments, do his ears and heart open to God symbolically, and he repents and turns back towards his father, resulting in salvation, living in paradise. So that's point number three. Trials lead us towards salvation. So when James tells us to count it all joy, he's not saying that we should pretend that trials are easy. He's saying that we should recognize what they produce: stronger faith, deeper character, and a clearer path to salvation. So if you're in a hard season right now, don't think of it as wasted time. Think of it as training, because God is working in you, shaping you for something greater than you can see right now.